So here's the situation. The Denver real estate market is more hyper-segmented by zip code than I have ever seen it. Working in real estate, you get the question a lot, how's the market? And the answer always depends on what the person's talking about. How's the national real estate market? Well, that's one thing. How's the market here in Denver? That's another thing. And increasingly, how's the market in my specific neighborhood? All three of those answers may be different. And through this channel, I've been trying to help advise buyers and sellers for years about timing and strategy to help them win and to help them get what they want, whatever they're trying to do in real estate. And more, that answer is dependent on the specific zip code they're looking in or the specific zip code they're selling in. And today I want to look at those zip codes in the Denver metro and look at which ones right now are the hottest. So which ones are getting the most offers, are homes selling the fastest in, or the strongest sellers markets, and which ones are the coldest. So which ones are homes sitting on the market longer, which ones are the areas where you can get more seller concessions if you're offering on a home, which ones are the buyer's markets. We're going to go through 5 of each, hottest and coldest markets. And at the end, I'm going to give you my recommendations on how to best approach it if you're looking to buy or sell in any of these areas. And if you haven't watched this channel before, I'm Sam Newman. I'm a Denver real estate agent. I run a team here in the Denver metro. It is my goal to be your go-to resource for anything real estate in and around the Denver area. So if we can help answer any of your questions, please do reach out. Would love to have a conversation with you to see if we can get you pointed in the right direction. I had Megan on this channel a few weeks ago. Megan is the oracle of Denver real estate stats. She works with First American Title, and we had a long-ranging discussion about the state of the real estate market right now. And we talked a lot about this map that I'm showing right now. This is a map of the 7-county Denver metro broken up by zip code. And it shows which zip codes are relatively hotter and which ones are cooler based on the color. So red or closer to red is hotter, more of a seller's market. And then blue or green is cooler, more of a buyer's market. Don't worry that you can't see everything in this map right now. We're going to dig into this and look at these specific zip codes. But in Megan's report, she goes through a whole bunch of data and she breaks it down by a number of categories. So once we look at the zip codes, we'll see what's going on in all these different real estate categories. So percentage over or under asking price, average days on market, things like that. This map and kind of my North Star for this video is this thing called odds of selling. So Megan looks at every home listed in a zip code in a given month and what percentage of them went under contract in 1 month. That's the odds of selling. So if 100% went under contract, that's 100 odds of selling. Zero, it's zero. You're with me. And so just by looking at this map, you're seeing that the highest odds of selling right now are on the west side of the metro, and their numbers in terms of odds of selling that are in the high 50s and even 60s. And it's really harder to see the lower odds of selling because a lot of these are really, really small zip codes. Again, we're going to zoom in, but those are in the 30s, down into the 20s, and even well below the 20s. Stay tuned. So we're going to start with hottest and go from 5 all the way to number 1. So the number 5 hottest zip code in the Denver metro right now, 80127. And what is this? Well, this is Littleton, Colorado. Okay, so this is actually west and southwest Littleton. So this encompasses most of Ken Carroll up to Dakota Ridge and really down to the Littleton foothills that are much more sparsely populated. Odds of selling here are 56.9%, okay? And the average days on market are 58. So that probably sounds like a lot, but it is lower than the overall average in the Denver metro of 60. Thing to keep in mind when average days on market is coming into play as well is this can be skewed by those listings that have been sitting on the market for a long, long time. 200 days, 300 days, 400 days. Sometimes you see these, a seller will put it on, it's overpriced and they're just unwilling to budge. They'll just be perfectly content to leave it on the market forever. That skews this average days on market. For example, median days on market right now in the entire Denver metro is 19. Average days on metro, 60. Pretty big difference, but in this graph, we're comparing average. So in 80127, the month's supply of inventory, that's how we measure how much inventory it is right at 2 months of supply. That's much lower than the overall 2.94, almost 3 months of supply in the overall Denver metro. So what you're seeing is Littleton, southwest Littleton, really those areas near or up against the foothills, very, very popular. There's desirable schools there. I've talked about Littleton a lot on this channel. It's overall a very good suburb as far as suburbs go. It's a desirable place to live. Strong market there. Okay, next one, number 4 hottest zip code in the Denver metro, 80003. Okay, and this is Arvada, big chunk of Arvada, right jutting up against Old Town. Old Town Arvada has exploded in popularity in the last few years. This is Arvada basically all the way up to Westminster, all the way up to 36. Includes Lake Arbor and Lamar Heights. Important that this is kind of old Arvada, and Arvada is huge, so the market here is much stronger and moves much faster than more new Arvada, which is to the west, Leiden Rock, Candelas, some of those newer, really higher price point developments. Those markets are moving much slower right now, but older Arvada is still going very, very quickly. Like I said, price point is much lower too. Average price is $565 in this zip code. Month supply of inventory 1.42, so less than half of the inventory on the market than we have in the Denver metro as a whole. And odds of selling here are 57.3%. This is an area that's popular because it's got good access to both Boulder and Denver. It is a suburb, but it feels a little more established, has a little more character than some suburbs. You're close to downtown Arvada, which is a nice little suburban downtown. And the average sales price is more affordable on average than it is in Denver as a whole. $565,000, over $100,000 less than the Denver average. And for the third hottest zip code, we'll go actually just to the north, 80021. So that's just to the north of where we just were, mostly Westminster. Basically that southern area of Westminster following 36 to the north, all the way almost to Broomfield, right up there to Flatiron Crossing on the northwest side. Odds of sale here are 58.2%. Average days on market are 25, so big difference from that 60 average in the entire Denver metro. And the thing that really stands out to me, 46.7% of homes here were under contract in 7 days. Right now, in the way the market's moving, that is huge. Only 26% of homes here had a price reduction versus 52% on average. And you're noticing this is a more affordable price point, $536,000 on average for closed properties. Now, this is attached and detached. This is taking everything into account. So that's houses, but that's condos and townhomes too. And the trend we're seeing here is affordability is really huge. An area that's affordable and also has these other things that folks like, being on the west side of town, being near amenities, really is desirable in the market right now with interest rates where they are and the affordability squeeze that's being felt by everybody. All right, we'll get to number 2 and then go to number 1, which is the highest odds of selling by far in this entire list. But number 2, 80215. And this is the Applewood area of Northwest Lakewood. So Lakewood is a really big Denver suburb. Covers a lot of ground and it's pretty varied in terms of what you get, but this is the most desirable area of Lakewood right now. Juts up against Wheat Ridge and actually against Golden on the west side. Applewood is split really in between Golden and Lakewood. Golden prices are astronomical. Lakewood more reasonable, but this part of Lakewood, this Applewood area, very desirable right now. Follows Kipling Street and crosses I-70, kind of broken up north and south of I-70 along Kipling. 58.6% odds of selling here in the zip code. 46.2% of homes went under contract in 7 days or less. Again, huge number. Average sold price here higher, 703. So that's actually higher than the Denver metro average. Bigger homes out here. And the hottest zip code in the Denver metro by far, 80020. We're going back up towards Westminster, really into Broomfield. Broomfield, Westminster for this zip code, north of 36 this time. So jutting up against Superior and Louisville, what you're seeing here very close to Boulder. So a lot of folks working in Boulder, doing things in Boulder that don't want to pay Boulder prices or aren't able to. This and some of these other zip codes we've looked at earlier on the list are good options. Broomfield continues to grow. It's got the interlocking right there. It's got a lot going for it. And right now, hottest zip code in the Denver metro. 66% odds of selling. Month supply of inventory right now in this Broomfield, Westminster area, 1.27 versus the Denver metro that's almost 3 months of supply. Huge difference. Percentage of homes that went under contract in under 7 days, 23%. So it's not moving ultra fast, but we are seeing a lot of consistency with those odds of selling at 66%. The majority of homes that get listed in this area right now are going under contract and selling within 1 month. All right, and on the other side, the coldest zip codes in the Denver metro right now. There's 5 of them. I'm going to run through them. If you've watched this channel before, number 1 may not be a surprise to you, but it is number 1 with a bullet. But number 5, 80218 with just over 30% odds of selling. This is a central Denver neighborhood. So Alamo Placita up until Uptown, basically jutting into City Park West. It's kind of a tall, long zip code here. Also includes the west side of Cheeseman Park. Average days on market here, 108. Also months of supply, 3.55, so higher by a good margin than the Denver metro. Average 75% of homes in this zip code had at least one price reduction. And I think what you're seeing here is, like with a lot of Denver neighborhoods, central neighborhoods, a lot more condos. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. Condos are having a much, much tougher time right now due to lifestyle changes since COVID and due to HOA policies or HOA fees that have gone up quite significantly the last 2-3 years. But I'll tell you too, my team has a listing in this area right now. Good listing, charming house. Feedback's been very, very positive. Haven't gotten any offers yet, and even showings are very, very slow. Okay, number 4, 80014, fourth slowest market in the Denver metro right now. This is a part of mostly Aurora, so sort of a southwest side of Aurora, just to the east of Havana, so almost Denver, and probably some of these do have Denver addresses. But it's Heather Ridge, Dam East, Dam West, and Heather Gardens. Heather Gardens is a 55 plus community. On the whole, those take quite a bit longer to sell for obvious reasons. It's a much smaller buyer pool. These are lower price points. Average sold price here is $407, but again, a lot of condos in this area, much smaller square footage for the most part. Months supply are 4.91, and just over 11% of listings here are going under contract in 7 days. Next one, third slowest market in the Denver metro, 80247. This is just to the northwest of the last one we looked at. This is basically Windsor. So Windsor includes Windsor Gardens, which is another 55 plus community. All the same things apply there. Month supply is just over 6 months supply, much lower purchase price, 307. A lot of those are condos, and a lot of those are restricted condos in that 55 plus community. It really gets interesting here. Second slowest zip code in the Denver metro, 80204. And this one's actually a big zip code, so it includes a lot, but right along I-25, part of it's to the west, part of it's to the east. So it includes the Santa Fe Arts District to the east, and then to the west, Villa Park into West Colfax. So West Colfax, near Colfax, you might think, oh, might not be the greatest, but that West Colfax stretch is just adjacent to Sloan's Lake, a very desirable neighborhood. We talked about this with Megan Aller a few weeks back. Sloan's Lake moving much, much slower than we're used to, or much slower than anecdotal evidence might indicate it would, because a lot of people want to live there, but a lot of higher price homes, especially in a high interest rate environment, that's tougher. And this part of West Colfax is actually just to the south of Sloan's Lake Park, so encompasses a lot of those same things, same reasons people love Sloan's Lake. In 80204, month supply here, 6.25, ton of inventory on the market. Again, this is kind of tough because it does encapsulate a few different neighborhoods. 25% odds of selling, only 15% of listings went under contract in the first week. And number 1, the slowest real estate market in the entire Denver metro. If you've been watching, you've been paying attention, this is probably not a surprise to you. 80202, that's Lodo. That's central downtown Denver. Last week's video talked about restaurants and the challenges they're having in the Denver metro. A lot of that was focused on downtown. We've talked about downtown a lot. A lot of opinions on downtown. Love when you guys weigh in. Please keep doing that. But downtown has had its challenges, and that combined with the fact that it's almost all condos, the challenges of the condo market in the Denver metro are just making this zip code crushed as far as buyer activity is going. It is so slow there. Let's take a look. So month supply of inventory. Again, the average in the Denver metro, 2.94. We are at 8.67. So well over the double the supply that the greater Denver metro has. Odds of selling in the first month, 14% right now. The next closest was 25%, huge difference. And the average sold price here was $951,000. So that makes things even harder, even beyond the other two things I said about downtown. Downtown's issues, the condo issue, and now these are higher dollar properties that people aren't just gonna slash and take an enormous loss on. So those are tough price points for any buyer right now, but especially considering all of these challenges. Okay, so what to do about any of this? Well, if you're buying in a hot neighborhood, for example, communication and data market knowledge of the agent or agents you're working with is more important than ever. They need to understand what's happening in that micro market, not just the market as a whole, because that's going to inform the way you have to negotiate, the way your offer strategy should be, all of these different things. So important. And communication with the listing agent when you do go to make an offer, very, very important to understand where they are, what they have in hand in terms of offers, and what you need to do to get under contract. If you're looking to sell in one of those hot markets, I would say get it up and get it up now. We don't know where the market's going to go this year, but right now it is good and is much better than it is as a whole in the Denver metro and as it is nationally as a whole. So if you're looking to sell, the time to do it with one of these micro markets that's very, very hot is right now. Meanwhile, in the colder markets, listen, if you're looking to buy, I probably don't have to give you the advice. You have way more options. There are going to be a lot of good decisions made right now by buyers buying in these colder markets because these things are cyclical, and the markets that are very cold right now aren't going to be cold forever. See what's out there, but then be decisive. And when you decide on a place, negotiate, ask for anything you can. Seller concessions you should be asking for, lower purchase price you should be asking for, obviously within reason, but this is your time to strike. And if you're selling in one of these colder areas, it's still doable. It's still possible. Pricing right is very, very important, more important than ever. And then doing the market research, having that market data to support that price, and then not jumping too soon to drop the price just because you didn't get an offer the first week. Looking at the data, you're probably not going to get an offer the first week, even if you're priced right. Having patience in that regard is very, very important, because if you are priced correctly, great. The home needs to be marketed correctly as well, obviously too. Very important, more than important than ever right now, especially in these places. But if you haven't had enough time on the market to get the right amount of buyers through there to find your buyer, dropping the price isn't necessarily going to help if you're already priced where you need to be. So having the market knowledge and having confidence in your price, very important. If you want to see that recent video I did talking about the restaurant industry and the challenges that it's having, especially downtown in Denver right now, 22% of restaurants in the last year have closed in Denver. I will link that here. Otherwise, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Would love to have you reach out. Love you. Talk soon.